Hi, I'm Antonio Sala, and in this video we will discuss the theory justifying some simulations we did in a companion video about performance of PID control. In that video, we defined a transfer function 2 over 2x plus 1 in MATLAB, and executing an app, we just tuned the proportional control by trial and error by watching that, okay, the higher the gain, the lower the set point tracking error, and the lower the disturbance rejection error, and well, also the higher the gain, the faster the transient is. But okay, we just found it by heuristic trial and error. The more intense the feedback is, the better the control process seems to be. Now we will deduce that behavior based on theoretical considerations, which are the usual exam questions in your first courses on automatic control at university level. So let's go. In this video we will use the symbolic toolbox because the developments we are going to carry out are closer to that pencil and paper block diagram simplification you may carry out in your examinations, but for more complex cases there are alternative ways using the control system toolbox, which are in fact recommended. But okay, let's start easy with just algebraic derivations with the controller gain as a symbolic letter to see what happens when it changes. So the block diagram we are dealing with is this one. We have a process. The manipulated variable is corrupted by an input disturbance, and also the true output is corrupted by a measurement noise, and then we have a set point and an error. This is the behavior we simulated in this application, with the input disturbance being a step at time 10. In this video we will discuss problem statement and set point tracking performance, this part of the simulation, and in a second video we'll discuss disturbance rejection and noise amplification issues. But okay, let's go back to our block diagram and then let us write it in form of algebraic equations, which are the ones you see here. These are the letters we will be using in our symbolic expressions, but okay, we have my first equation here saying that the control action U is K times E, being E the loop error. Remember that we are actually manipulating differential equations, but if we work in the Laplace domain, transfer function representation, then those manipulations with differential equations get transformed to algebraic operations, summing, multiplying, dividing in the Laplace domain. So the controller is a multiplication like this. This is the equation of this process. The output is the transfer function G times the actual input to the physical plant, which is the one we compute U, plus the disturbance input du, which is unknown to us in principle. And then the last equation is this one, saying that the information to my controller is the actual output plus the measurement noise, and the loop error is the difference between the set point and that noise corrupted measurement. So with this we have translated the block diagram to an algebraic equation form, and in fact it's that equation form the one we will need for actual mathematical derivations. The block diagram is just a convenient way of representing these systems of equations in the Laplace domain, but the truth is that equations is what really matters. So once we have these loop equations, which are three equations, then that means that we can solve for three unknowns, and the unknowns I wish to solve for will be loop error, manipulated variable, and actual clean process output. So I will tell my solver to solve for them by placing these three letters as arguments to the solve command, give the equations and the unknowns I wish to solve for, and then here we have the solution, but in order to write them in pretty form, closer to what you would see in the books, well, we will use some collect symbolic toolbox command in which, let's see, I will tell, for instance, that the output controlled variable, it must collect the things that multiply the inputs r, du, and n, because this closed loop has indeed this setpoint, du, disturbance, and measurement noise 3 inputs, and the 3 outputs I solve for, e, u, y. So if I collect what multiplies these inputs, then MATLAB will give me the result in nice and pretty transfer function form, transfer function times input. And well, as I have 3 inputs, I have 3 transfer functions for the controlled output, for the loop error in here, and we will also have a look at the manipulated variable behavior, and then this manipulated variable has this expression. The thing is that, this is just solving for the letters here, so I leave to you as an exercise to actually get the solutions we see here, because that's a standard problem in your first control course, so you must solve the loop equations by yourself at least once in your life. So maybe the moment is now, so you may pause and indeed check that this is the correct result. The thing is that once we have this, then we need to compute the actual values of these transfer functions for our particular example. So we'll concentrate in this video in analyzing the setpoint tracking response, which is the transfer function in red times the actual setpoint in Laplace transform, to see whether we can justify in our first order system why increasing the gain shows the behavior we saw in our simulations. So let's go. In my example, Kc will be the symbolic proportional gain. This will be my controlled process, whose DC gain is 2. Final value theorem tells me that in open loop, step input will have a final value given by the transfer function replacing s by 0. Remember, Laplace variable s standard for derivatives, and things in equilibrium have 0 derivatives. So well, the thing is that final value theorem tell me these things about my plant, and the controller will be actually Kc, proportional constant. So now let us carry out this gk over 1 plus gk, which was our transfer function of interest. And well, we will have, this is gk divided by 1 plus gk, and then, okay, multiplying numerator and denominator by 2s plus 1, we will remove denominators and have it in pretty form. But, well, MATLAB does it for us. So if we tell it to simplify and collect things as a polynomial in the Laplace variable, then we get this nice closed loop reference to output transfer function. And then let us first check if it is stable, because if it is unstable, then we finish. We should not connect this thing. And once we prove that it is stable for a range of values of Kc, then we will see which is the equilibrium final value for a step set point, and that will end our analysis, because first order systems don't have oscillation, so they just jump from one point to another. Then the only thing we need to say about them is how long they take to reach the new equilibrium point. Okay, so if we check the dynamics, we need to obtain the poles, which are the roots of the denominator. So equating this to 0, of course, we have this thing that, of course, I can do it with a symbolic toolbox, obtaining numerator and denominator of that transfer function and solving for the values of s that make denominator equal 0, and well, here we get the resulting expression. So our closed loop pole is there. And now, well, let us analyze first stability. For stability, this thing must be strictly less than 0, and that will happen if Kc is greater than -1/2. So that will be the stability condition, and then here I have it written. But, well, come on, I mean, my process has a positive gain, which means that in order to move my process up, I need a positive input. So unless I am an idiot, let's say, the usual thing to do if my set point is above my output value is increasing my input in the positive direction. So when error is positive, because this is positive error, when error is positive, my control action should be, from my intuition, positive, given the sign of the DC gain of my plant. So basically, all proportional controllers I would dare to try will have proportional gain greater than 0. So for that bunch of controllers, all of them will be stable. And once they are stable, the settling time, the time the transient takes, will be 3 times the time constant for the 95% criteria, let's say. And then time constant is the inverse of the pole. Well, as the pole is a negative number, the inverse of the absolute value of that pole, then 3 divided by Kc plus 0.5 will be the settling time. So for instance, if Kc were 2.5, then the pole will be at -3 and settling time will be 3/3, 1 second. So let us check that in simulation. My maximum gain will be 2.5 and I move it up to that maximum gain, and then we can see that indeed, if we zoom in the set point response, roughly everything happens in 1 second, or 95% of everything from theory. Let me switch saturation off, sorry. Here we have the new plot, because linear system theory cannot account for saturation, because that's a nonlinearity. But okay, if we do not saturate, then everything happens in 1 second as theory predicts. Or let's say, if I now move Kc to 0.5, the pole will be at -1, settling time will be 3 seconds, and let's see, indeed, if I zoom in, we see that, yeah, final value is reached in 3 seconds. So this is the prediction of settling time, and simulations are run in accordance with the theory, of course. As a convenience, this root locus command will tell me the position of the roots in a graphical way on the complex plane. So if I put the transfer function 2/2s plus 1, we get this figure in which we start at -0.5 for 0 Kc. Here we have it. And then the bigger Kc is, the more negative real the pole is. So it draws this horizontal blue line indicating that. Of course, I need no root locus plot to understand what this thing means, but okay, that plot will be very useful in more complex cases. So let's start with a simple thing, saying, okay, I understand what this plot means, and then future videos will discuss more complex cases in which this command will be helpful. But okay, this is it. And then once we know how long the transient takes, the only remaining thing is the final value. This final value. Indeed, proportional control has position error, unless I switch some 2 degree of freedom stuff we are not considering here, because if the error is 0, then my input would be disconnected and then my process will go back to 0. So, which is this final value for the output? Which is the steady state DC error? Well, the DC gain of the reference to output transfer function, the DC gain of this function will be just replacing S by 0 in the transfer function. So this is it. This is the DC gain. So for instance, let's say if KC were 3, then Y final will be this expression times the final value of the set point, that if it is a step, well, it's the value, but okay, so it will be 6/7, the final value. Then 6/7 is 0.86. So if we set that gain of 3, so if we zoom in the set point change fraction of the response, we see that indeed it is this 0.86 final value of the output we get here, and of course the tracking error will be the remaining bit to the reference, which will be 1/7 in our case, 0.14. And that error will be, as we say here, the reference minus the final value of the output, and then we will get this thing here, and this coefficient is called position error coefficient and indicates the steady state error when set point is 1 unit, which is the exact thing I am simulating here. But of course, if reference were 5 units, then the error will be this position error coefficient times 5, okay? And we see that the larger the gain is, the lower the error. So if we increase the gain from 3 to 6 to 12, then the error diminishes. So we can plot, for instance, this position error coefficient, and then it's roughly inversely proportional to the gain once I go to higher gains. And in here we see the gain we need for 5% tracking error, or, you know, over here, more or less, the gain we need for a 2% tracking error. So we'll conclude here. If we summarize what we have seen, in this video we have seen the theoretical justification on why the higher the gain is, the faster the transient is, and the smaller the tracking error when the transient finishes is. That is coincident with our previous heuristic simulation and tuning of proportional controller, and well, we have also seen that the theory cannot predict the behavior with saturation, in which the speed of climbing is limited by my maximum power. Linear theory only predicts exponential behavior with no saturation. So we end now. Thanks for watching.